to you. So with that, Super Don, I want to bring Lisa Rooney back into the mix for the first time, as long as she wants to hang out today. Hey, Lisa, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
Thank you. Well, as you can see, not on top of my game, stumbling and bumbling through the opening of the show, but trying to relate some of these things. I'm still trying to process on, but it was really cool. Homeopathy was represented at this thing.
Yeah, and it's very interesting what you said about them not really understanding what the Maha movement is. I find that mind-blowing at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I guess it takes people a little while to, yeah.
Well, they have a business as usual mantra on great lobbyists and policymakers, and they think of everything in terms of friendship and personality worship, leaders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yet this Maha movement, largely like a lot of it's moms that have instituted and pumped it up in a big way.
Right.
And they are not beholden, even if they hate Trump, they realize, like Bob Kennedy, and Trump gave Kennedy the opportunity, no one else. I said it. I said, listen, if the Democrats wanted to win, they would have embraced Bobby Kennedy. They would have won. Period. But they didn't.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know.
Yeah.
And as I said, these folks just, they think that the Maha movement is all MAGA, and it's not really that. In fact, many people do without it. They don't care. But we are aligned in this area of health and health freedom and bodily autonomy. And I guess they're not used to both stances like this.
Right. And it, for me, it's about protecting the children. How do we protect the options that we need to have for our children? Children are, I read a quote in my early parenting, children are not a distraction from the work. They are the important work. Mm-hmm. And everything that we stand for has to be in protection of our children so that our generations can grow up knowing the truth, having access, freedom, critical thinking, all of the things, so that they can participate in society and lift all of society up. We're not doing that right now when we're all just picking at each other and closing everybody down and limiting choices.
Well, and that's even like with the Maha meeting that I went to with all of these big players up there, the disagreements among everybody in that room, could come to fist blows, right? I mean, it's intense. Yet at the same time, there was also an acknowledgement and recognition that we are here doing something bigger than any of our individual agendas. Much might try to push them. That,
right?
Like working with Lee Zeldin at EPA, which is schizophrenic right now. It's like on one hand they do something good and then they do something horrible. And the nature of Washington D.C. is not natural at all. It's an absolute mess. That's why I don't like being there. I felt like I had to communicate something that we don't ever get to communicate with them. But I'm glad I'm not there right now. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I did my stint on that when I did a lot of fighting about the smart meter program when it first came out, and it was pretty exhausting. I'm all for going, and I really appreciate those who have the energy, the intellect, the willingness to go in and do the lobbying. I feel like I kind of did my time, and and now I'm sitting back a little bit more because I think that for me, where I'm at it in this journey for me is 100% supportive of the movement. And at the same time, we don't know where that movement is going to go. I like what's happening, but there is a lot of schizophrenia in it. There's a lot of fighting going on. And so I think as individual, as parents, as humans, we still need to make sure that we are well informed about what our choices are and what we can do should we need to make those decisions. For me, that's really relying a lot on homeopathy because it gives me the freedom to handle whatever comes my way.
Mm-hmm. You grab that chair over there, Neil. Neil Schultz is going to join us momentarily.
Awesome.
Super Don, I hear I'm having some technical connectivity stuff. So Lisa, before I bring Neil in, I'm going to let you first start and say to everybody about the summer travel season and homeopathy. Introduce it. I know you've got some slides, and I'm going to reconnect on a different Wi-Fi, see if we get better. But in the meantime, I don't want anybody to miss anything you're saying. So Neil Schultz back with me, but carry on, you and Super Don. I'll be right back.
I'll take over.
Okay.
I'll take over. I got it. All right. So, okay. So if you are listening in, whether you're listening live or whether you're listening in at a later date, I want everyone to grab a pen and paper, because what we're going to do is we're going to talk about summertime remedies. This is the time. There's a lot of, people who are getting into travel. We've got the weather coming out. We're spending a lot of time outdoors. And so I got to thinking about, like, if I had 10 remedies that I knew I always needed to have, that I wanted to carry with me for summertime activities. And those activities include everything from going to the pool to hiking, camping, your beach trips, your mountain trips, family vacations, all of the things that you would likely do over the summer. And I'm really talking more just your general summer vacations. Now, if you are going overseas, you're going to want to have these remedies and some additional remedies as well. And I'll talk about that if we have time at the end. But the 10 remedies, so if you've got your paper ready, I'm going to go through these real quick, and then I'm going to really put them into categories so you can see what these remedies are going to be used for. So the 10 remedies are Aconite, Arnica, Ledum, Hypericum, Apis, Calendula, Glonoinum, China, Cantharis, and Arsenicum. Those would be the top remedies. Now, that's not all of the remedies that you might need for summertime activities, but those would be the top 10 if you're just kind of getting started. Aconite, Arnica, Ledum, Hypericum, Apis, Calendula, Glonoinum, China, Cantharis, and Arsenicum.
Hey, Lisa, we're back. Can you see us?
Hi.
Yeah.
Hey, we're here.
Neil Schultz, my buddy, naturopath, homeopath, and I love sharing the homeopathic love here.
Hey, Neil, it's really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Lisa. Heard a lot of good things.
Oh, thank you. I have heard of you too. We have a mutual connection, a girlfriend of mine that lives there in Utah. Her name is Mindy, and I think she has connected with you.
Mindy Mitchell?
Mindy Taylor.
Okay.
Mindy Taylor, okay.
Mindy Taylor.
And she has connected with you, and she was telling me about you, and I was telling her about RSB, and
it's a great homeopathic community.
Yeah, it's growing nicely.
It is. It's good.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask you, Lisa, about, we talk about and this is for everybody out there. Homeopathic remedies are all Latin names, so that they're the same no matter what language you speak. What is your native tongue? If it's German, Hebrew, English, whatever, you're going to use Latin names. But even then, I make fun because it's like, who speaks Latin nowadays in America? Not many of us. So even when we talk about homeopathic remedies, you could have two homeopaths saying the same word a little bit differently. Like I've always said, the Glonoinum, right? And it's just
Glonoinum.
like, right? And but it's a Latin name. I think we can get away with it. And of course, that's the nitroglycerin, as we talk about for in modern medicine, we use it allopathically.
I often hear that the pronunciation difference when we talk about lachesis or lachesis.
Yes. Or right. Yeah.
I think it just depends on how you learned it.
Yeah, lachesis as well. So we just have fun, silly homeopathic jokes about pronunciation of Latin names. So
well, and then you could be like the French.
Yeah.
And what did they do? They renamed the sick liver of a duck Oscillococcinum.
Yes.
Or Oscillococcinum.
Or Oscillococcinum.
Yeah.
Or Oscillococcinum. Yeah. Or
Since
that O remedy. They just call it that O remedy.
Oscillo. Yes, exactly. So I didn't want to interrupt, but I'm just so happy when we can all connect and enjoy the presentation as well for and maybe you can go through some of these summer remedies as well. And we might have some comments on it or not, but just for folks that are on the travel trip, some key reasons why you selected some of these remedies.
Yeah, I'm going to go through that for sure. So I've just kind of listed all the 10. Did you pop back on when I listed those 10? Did you hear them?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So those, again, there are other remedies that you probably will want to have on. And as I talk about a lot in my courses, you really need to take a look at what you have a tendency towards and make sure that you're learning remedies based on the conditions that you tend to see in your home or that you feel like you're going to encounter when you're out and about, especially on travel. So you're going to want to think about that. So for example, I'm going on later on in the summer, I'm going to be doing a mission trip in Jamaica. So I will have all of my normal remedies, but I will also have remedies that are specific to the things that I may encounter there, dengue fever being one of them. So I'm going to be going and looking up, what are the symptoms? What are the signs of dengue fever? How do I, how is it transmitted? What remedies do I need in order to handle those symptoms that might present if that happens to be an issue for me, which I'm not overly worried about, but that's how we are prepared.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you like to use a lot of the nosodes, Lisa?
I do actually. I use nosodes. Yeah, I use nosodes quite a bit in my practice.
Awesome.
For sure.
Including dengue fever, we have the nosode for
Right.
that too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was just going to say, when you talk about dengue, one size fits it all, and if it's real dengue, is the
Right.
nosode, and that's what nosodes are my favorite part, my favorite category. I love that totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I use them. I mean, one of my favorite ones is carcinosin.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably one of my favorite. I actually find when I take that remedy, I can literally feel my entire system reorganize. But that's probably the remedy that I use most frequently, because I have a lot of clients that I work with that have a lot of suppressed trauma. And so that one comes up quite a bit for that suppression and the anger, for the people pleasing, things of that nature.
Awesome. I love it. You mentioned Ledum, and I'm going to make a comment real quickly, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So you've heard about the Lone Star tick release?
Oh yeah, that's right.
And the new Alpha Gal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Ledum is the reported way to go with that. So
It
just thought I'd pass that along.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. And it absolutely is. As a matter of fact, my daughter just got bit by one. She called me right away, and I was like, go to your kit and get Ledum out.
Yeah,
and I sent her exactly how I wanted her to take it. And then, I did actually make up a more of a custom remedy from her using that tick. And I had a handful of other things in it. But yeah,
awesome.
I'm not really overly concerned with that Alpha Gal for her in particular, as I've gotten a little bit more into it. But I know it's something that people are very afraid of. And one of the things that I told her to do first was go take some Aconite, because she was like, oh my gosh, I got bit by a tick. And am I going to get the Alpha Gal? And it was the Lone Star. And, so her system was already in this state of shock. So I said, go take a dose of Aconite, wait about 15 minutes, and then you're going to start Ledum.
Nice.
Yeah. So let me put these in categories for you. So Aconite, I just mentioned, that's one. I think everyone should always have Aconite with them. And that's going to be your emotional remedy. So that's the one. Anytime something happens, if there's a bump, there's a bruise, if there's a, something significant, somebody passes out from dehydration, anything that is going to happen out on your summertime activities, if it creates a shock for you, or mom, if you're shocked because it happens to your child, take a dose of Aconite, and that will bring everything down, and it will allow you to work the problem. It will allow you to think through the problem. So you're always checking in. Where am I breathing? Am I breathing from, up here in the top of my chest? Or do I have it? Am I cool? Am I calm? Do I've got it? If you're not cool and calm, take a dose of Aconite so that you can bring everything down, and then you can work the problem. Mm-hmm. All right. So for bumps and bruises, there's three actually that I would think of is Arnica is going to be your standard bump and bruise remedy. Everybody pretty much knows about Arnica. And then Ledum is another remedy that we can use. That's ideal for black eyes. And a distinguishing feature is those bruises that feel really cold to the touch.
Yeah.
So that's how you might distinguish. Do you need Aconite or do you need Ledum for a bruise? I like Ledum a lot for bruises to the extremities, eye socket, ankles, things of that nature. And I might use Arnica and Ledum in combination, just depending on what's going on. But Ledum is also going to be your bite remedy as well. So I'll talk about that in a minute. And then Hypericum, you may need to layer that in for any falls or injuries that affect the nerve-rich areas. So your toes, your fingers, your coccyx, If you're a sporty family, if you're really active, you may want to have Hypericum in your bag as well for those bumps and those bruises and those falls and injuries.
Excellent.
All right.
Well, and Hypericum was one of my favorite remedies just because it is so effective for the nerves. And, from St. John's wort, which is where Hypericum comes from, I put that in my CBD pain formulas.
Makes sense.
Specifically for that. So.
Oh, great idea. Absolutely.
Nice combo.
So the next category is your bites and your stings. So the two remedies you're going to want to be thinking about are Ledum and Apis. So Ledum is your puncture wounds, insect bites, step on a nail, stings also. It also has that may feel cool to the touch. And then Apis is the opposite. Apis is your remedy when there's swelling, stinging, redness. This is your treatment for hives. So we can really take a minute and distinguish which remedy we need just based on how it feels. If it's red, it's hot, it's kind of blowing up like a balloon, then we might lean on Apis. If it's not, then we might lean a little bit more on Ledum. And as Neil said, any tick bites, we're going to lean on Ledum.
Yeah, I like in this discussion that Lisa has put out, the same remedies are appearing in multiple categories.
Yeah.
And that's the nature of homeopathy, that it has more than one focal point. And so when you layer up, it's not to confuse everybody. It's like, well, why is it here and there too? It's just the nature of homeopathy. It's quite expansive in what a remedy can do. And so we're just picking it up to say, this one is also good here, right? You think, well, no, I use it there. No, it's also good here. It's okay. I don't want anybody to think you're throwing it at everything. There's a reason for all of this.
A lot of polycrest.
Yes.
I had that exact example over at my booth here about an hour ago.
Yeah.
Well, I thought pulsatilla was for something else. No, it's a good general female remedy. So.
Right. And that is why when I teach about homeopathy and the way that I arranged my course, I teach based on the conditions. I'm not a fan of trying to learn all the keynotes of the remedy. I'm a fan of trying to learn what remedies treat the conditions, because as you get to know those remedies and you remember, Ledum is for puncture wounds, then you can extrapolate that out to other scenarios. You might only think about it as bites, but then I've used Ledum when I've had a really rough acupuncture appointment. And I've just been a little shaken after an acupuncture appointment because it's a puncture.
That's a good call.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That is a good call.
I hope you don't have many rough acupuncture accounts or appointments, but yeah.
No, but I did have one a handful of years ago, and I walked out of there going, wow, that was really rough. And I was just a little shaken. And I took one dose of Ledum. I have one child that does fine with blood draws. I have another one that doesn't. That one that doesn't always gets Ledum after the blood draw. So, but I learned about Ledum as a puncture wound, as a bite remedy, because I learned about it for tick bites. So that's why I'm a real fan of learning about remedies through the conditions versus just trying to memorize all of the keynotes.
Real quick, and not to interrupt the flow here, but you mentioned how you teach. I want to remind folks that you've written a nice beautiful little course that people are really responding well to. And I think the last time you told me you were given a discount for the RSB show, a CALM 20, CALM 20.
I gave you the wrong code because that was for the launch that I just did. But your code is RSB 20. RSB 20.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for anybody that tried it. Hopefully it works. But yeah, when you go to Vibrant Life 24/7, you'll find that course among other things if you want to consult, etc. All right, so go on some more summer remedies here. This is great.
All right, so our next category is cuts and scrapes. So the main remedy that I think of for cuts and scrapes is calendula, and I love that topically, and I love it internally as well. So if it's just a small little cut scrape, you may want to just use calendula. We talked about this last year when we did the Ditch and Switch series. That's your replacement for Neosporin, is your calendula. You can get it in a cream, an ointment, a tincture. If you get it in the tincture, It is diluted in alcohol, so you're going to want to dilute it before you put it on the scrape. I love the ointment. That's what I always carry with me. But I also want to remind people that you've got the silver. The silver gel is one of my favorites. I also like the spray, and so I always carry those as well. But for cuts and scrapes, the first thing you want to think about is calendula. If it's a little bit deeper, or if you're finding that it's not healing very quickly, then you want to take calendula internally.
Mm-hmm.
So then our next category is dehydration. And so the two we want to think about are Glonoinum, or however you pronounce it.
Glonoinum.
Yes.
And that's your remedy for heat stroke, sunstroke. It's also a great remedy for the pounding headaches that you get after you've been, like you've been at the beach all day and you come in and your head is just throbbing and pounding. That's a remedy that you can consider. And then the second one is China. And that one is the weakness from loss of fluids. So excessive sweating, heat exposure, maybe even diarrhea. This is your classic remedy where there's been fluid depletion. So again, you're out, in the sun all day, you've been sweating, you come in, your weakness, you just feel weak. This one can help restore the system.
Yeah, we landed in Vegas last night. It was like 108. And here, I think it's going to be a 106 today in St. George.
My truck registered 110 pulling in here last night.
Wow. So yeah, we need to know about China just in case.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was
just going to ask a quick question. Do you ever use Natmure for dehydration?
I do. Yes. And Natmure would be another great remedy to carry with you to take throughout the summer. Especially if you're struggling with dehydration. It's actually one of my favorite salts.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Did you have slides that you sent to Super Don as well, or are we just talking through them? I want to make sure that we have visuals for people too.
Well, for this next one, I did send Super Don a visual. So this next category is sunburns. And I just wanted to pull up a slide. This is actually from my course. So I wanted your listeners to have a chance to really see what they were going to get inside the course. And these are some of the remedies that I typically use for sunburns. So you can see this very first one for significant burns. This Cantharis and Arsenicum album is actually a Banerjee protocol for burns. Now, I use some Banerjee protocols. I don't use them all of the time, but they are a great, easy way for people who are getting introduced to homeopathy to begin using remedies, because they're pretty specific, and you just, what do I use for burns? And they have it laid out, and, some of those early users can begin to utilize the protocols and get to know the remedies through those protocols. So Cantharis 200 and Arsenicum album, you can take that about every 3 days, every 3 hours. And that protocol is designed to address the pain, blistering, the burning, and some of those more systemic effects of the burns. Cantharis
Do you suggest topical as well as oral, or both?
I suppose you could probably mix those in and just like in a spray bottle and put them on topically. Yeah, that is not typically what I do with burns. My son actually experienced a very significant burn. I started him off with Cantharis 30, and it just was not cutting it. And then I moved to this Banerjee protocol. What I did was a little old time remedy, because I like those old kitchen remedies as well. I soaked rags in white vinegar and put it on his chest and his back, and that pulled all the burn out.
And of course, right here at this booth, we'd be dumping ourselves with Argentin 23 and pouring it all over.
True.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of different ways to get to the middle. So for your just general sunburns, Cantharis 30, those are burns that have, some intense burning, maybe some blistering, some redness, and that's going to help to alleviate the discomfort, promote healing. And then one I didn't mention in my top 10, but this is a little bonus remedy, would be Arnica urns. And so I always take this remedy with me, especially if I'm going to be at the beach. This one is indicated for first-degree burns that have a prickly or a stinging sensation, similar to like a nettle rash or jellyfish stings. So that's why I always take that remedy with me when I'm going to be at the beach where I might come in contact with something that would produce that type of a rash.
Yeah, well, it is that season where people are at the beach, and I don't know when the jellyfish come on which beach, but man, if you ever get stung by them, you definitely want some urticurins. So that's cool.
Yeah,
Right. And then, of course, you've got the topical support. Calendula, as you said, silver can be great, aloe vera gel. And I am a fan of the gel that comes right from the plant. So everybody, you know, at the beginning of summer, just go buy yourself an aloe vera plant. If you're out traveling and you're at an Airbnb, maybe on the beach or something, you can get an aloe vera plant at almost any grocery store during the summer. And just slice it open and put it right on the burn. It is so effective so quickly, as opposed to buying an aloe vera gel that's in a bottle that has all kinds of preservatives.
Yeah, that's nasty. I have an aloe plant. I gotta have to ask my honey where we got it. Did we get it from Florida from a friend and we brought it? But it's been, you know, in the summer it's outdoors. In the winter it's in the greenhouse. It grew so big I've had to transplant it twice.
Yeah.
So, you know, it doesn't, you know, it's pretty flexible. If it's within its temperature range, even I've been impressed with it. So yeah, we can definitely harvest some aloe now.
Absolutely. And you can put them in the freezer. You know, that's another, or the fridge, just to kind of preserve them a little bit. That's another way to use them throughout the summer. I mean, I always had an aloe plant available throughout the entire summer. You know, and just slice it open and put it right on, and it
What if
really suits.
Your 1966 Chevrolet Corvette, does it have side pipes? I don't remember.
No.
Oh, I was just thinking if you got burned on those side pipes, we've got some remedies for you too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just impressed with anybody who would have a 66 vet.
I know. I can't wait to get back to Atlanta. In fact, I'm trying to arrange if I can get back there in July. I don't know if you're going to be around. Visit with mom and family, and then she promised me I could take a ride in it.
Wow.
I promise you, we will take a ride in that car. We'll take lots of pictures.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What color?
It's red.
It's red.
Red.
It's beauty. And it's what they call a survivor, right? Because it's all original, pretty much.
It's all original, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's funny, her husband travels a lot for business and ended up on an airplane with Chip Foose. If you remember that guy who does the
I don't.
He did the Overhauling. It's the show, TV show Overhauling.
Okay.
And he was like looking at that, knowing that they have it's like, oh, I want to get a hold of that 66 vet. So it's kind of cool. Cool story.
Yeah, he could probably do amazing things.
Yeah. So being my birth year, it's special.
So Super Don, let me have you pull up the next slide. So we've talked about the top 10 remedies that I suggest that you have in prep for summertime travel. But if you're looking for more information, you want to know more first aid solutions, these are all the things that I cover in my course. And so you can click on that, or you can go to that link, or you can go to my website. And Super Don, if you can pull up my website, I'll show people how to get to the course.
Yes, thank you. Always like to make it easy on people.
Yep, it's right down there.
There it is, Vibrant Life 24/7, where it says, scroll down till you see Learn Homeopathy.
Right. And then you can just click there and it'll take you right to the course. So the first aid module includes a lot of these remedies that we've talked about. And it includes all of those things that I just listed on the previous slide. So there's a lot more involved. And that's just one lesson in the module that covers all of the conditions. There's over 25 conditions that are covered in this course.
So cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I love it. Like you said, Neil gets out there and he's doing classes on site. I don't know if you got one coming up we can let everybody know about
next week.
Next week. In fact, where will it be held?
In here in St. George.
In St. George. So you're going to stick around?
I'm going to stick around for the week. Yeah, we've got some activities planned to fill in the gaps. We'll be good.
So, Lisa, this is so exciting. We were talking before going there as well about. I'm not getting cocky, but I perceive homeopathy's on the comeback trail. Right? They've tried to keep us down so long, and we homeopaths have probably condemned ourselves to, relegate ourselves because of. I've talked about trauma wounds, being beaten up over the years. Oh, you guys aren't real. Any of those things that cause us emotionally, even subconsciously, to go out and try to not really tell anybody and hide. And I'm like, you know what? We can't play that game anymore. We've got to go out with the courage and tenacity that we have within us. And if we don't, then take the right remedy and get it back. so that we can stand up for what we know is right, has helped us and helped so many, and not being concerned at all about others that would try to denigrate us because they don't believe it's real. Or in the other thing, when the homeopathic community tries to attack itself because it's like, oh, my way or the highway.
Another circular firing squad.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we've talked about that. I mean, I just don't think there's any room within the homeopathic community for all of that infighting, because in the end, I don't care how people come to homeopathy. I just want them to come to homeopathy, because what shifted it for me was 20 plus years ago, when I knew I wanted to raise my children outside of the mainstream, and I wanted a community to do it. So I started a community, and I started talking to people. And as I got to know more and more, especially when homeopathy came my way, and it really became the primary medicine that I used, and I got really good. Like, I designed this course for people to get really good at homeopathy, so that the courage sets in. Because once you know and you see the power of it, it doesn't matter what somebody says about some study out there from some doctor somewhere. I know what works, and I know the way in which I want to raise my children, and I have the confidence to be able to do that. And that's what I want for all of the people that find their way to homeopathy. And I think it's really great. I had a discovery session with one of your listeners yesterday, and it was mom and daughter. Yay. And the daughter, she was, with the conditions that she was having, she did not want to do anything allopathically. And this is the young adult generation.
We've heard that before.
That's cool.
Yeah, this is the young adult generation. So there is so much hope, I think, in terms of these younger generations, that they're really getting the message. They're really they want something different. They want something empowering, and they want to be able to handle things on their own.
Well, and just to interject something here, that's my speaking subject here at the conference tomorrow.
Yeah.
Options for parents who don't want to vaccinate. And so being certified in homeoprophylaxis from Dr. Isaac Golden out of Australia.
Yes.
I work with a lot of youth in getting them to pass things without vaccines.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this also reminds me, remember when I did a live broadcast, when that last trip to Atlanta that I saw you, Lisa, I also went out way on the other side of Atlanta, an hour away, for Better Way Health. And I broadcast from there. And a lot of their, what we call the next gen, the young people, the 30 somethings and the late 20 somethings. And they were all raising their families now with homeopathy. All of these young kids, I can say that. And it was the coolest thing. So shout out to Reggie and the gang from Better Way Health. Not only their beta glucan is amazing for immune modulation, but they're all using homeopathy as well and raising the next generation.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm seeing.
And Neil, I used homeopathic prophylaxis with my children.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you know which protocol you're using? Because there's several different good ones out there. Are you using Golden's protocol primarily?
I did. Yeah, I used his protocol.
Good job.
Yeah, and I've trained in his homeoprophylaxis course.
Awesome. Nice.
Yeah, that is the foremost protocol in the world today. And there's a lot of other knockoffs out there. And I don't know whether you're through. I don't want to interject here, but I will briefly. The discussion of antibodies and titers, that always comes up. Well, are we going to produce antibodies and titers? Well, typically homeopathic doesn't. But I'm going to ask you a question, Lisa. You may know the answer to this. I have a theory that the lower potencies will possibly produce some antibodies and measured titers, where the higher potencies, where Isaac Golden's program primarily does not. What's your thought on that?
I don't know. I don't have an answer. I would have to think about that. Yeah.
Okay, RSB, what do you think?
No, that's my experience has been when we've worked with the lower potencies in homeoprophylaxis, we have elicited titer antibody.
Yeah.
And I'm not even saying that's necessary, but I know that we have a whole group of reductionists that believe it's only real when that happens.
Well, that's the allopathic paradigm.
Correct.
That's what they exist with. And so if you don't have antibodies and titers, they don't think you're immune. However, as I'm speaking tomorrow on the innate system, the vaccines never attack or touch the innate system, where homeoprophylaxis in the higher potencies definitely does, which gives you true immunization rather than the fake stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And when you say low potencies, what are you considering low potencies, Neil?
Something in the 12x area. I've seen a lot of that.
10x, 12x, 15x is where I've seen it. And you know, in fact, there's an article I'm working on from one of my previous monologues. Super Don sent me the transcript. And, you know, I go into, once again, how many times have I say this, that having an antibody is not a guarantee that you won't get sick. Not having one is not a guarantee that you will get sick, right? There's so much more to the immune system than just that.
So much more. Take a look at the naval ship that was quarantined for 3 months with a continuous outbreak of mumps.
Yep. They were all 100% vaccine.
Well,
right?
you proved that they were not.
Yeah.
And you couldn't do that because they were all, and if there was any question, they got it all again.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And
you can't tell me that.
I've talked to parents time and time again who have said, my kid had all the vaccines and they didn't show any antibodies.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I was just going to say. And they, the majority of them had to have measured antibodies and titers. However, they had the continuous outbreak. So what good was that?
Yeah.
3 months.
I mean, when I first learned, you know, when I was first faced with it with my children, I just had alarm bells going off all over the place. And really just dove into it before they were even born. So when that came around, I already knew what I was going to do. And luckily I had some good support. Yeah.
I've got 5 great grandkids with 3 more on the way.
Wow.
And they're all doing homeoprophylaxis now.
Lovely.
Their mothers are all on board, and one of them is a registered nurse, and the other one is studying to be a midwife. So
that's so cool. You should have felt and seen the shock in the room when I said, my kids have been raised differently than I was. 0 vaccines. They've never had an antibiotic, and they must have died at least 7 times from measles already. You know, and they couldn't even react to that. I mean, it was like they were just shocked in silence, you know, to hear that. And you know, that's a Beltway thing. There's such a bubble in the Beltway. They don't connect to what we're talking about here. It's just they don't know people like that. And yet there's a growing, you know, I don't know what the minority is, the majority of what level, but significant percentage of the American people are now, like, we're talking about the younger generations. They are making a switch that I couldn't have seen in a million lifetimes. And a lot of it was brought on by the COVID or the response to COVID.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What a wake-up call.
And I think when you learn this medicine, because it is so deep and there's so much that we can do with it, the fear of some of those things goes away. Why would you be afraid of chicken? Have this great tool that can treat those illnesses that come around. I mean, that was the big thing for me, was when I learned about the illnesses and I learned how to treat them, the fear of them coming along completely went away.
And that is another thing, Lisa, you brought it up. It's so important. When I go out and talk about these things, and I'll try, and even in this group, I'll say, the fact is they've told you that if you don't vaccinate, there's nothing else. And that's the biggest lie ever.
Yeah.
But that's how they perceive that, you know, we're crazy because we want people to die, because they don't acknowledge, they don't know, they don't want to know that we have a myriad of ways to quote unquote actually prevent the severity, much less sometimes the occurrence, but that's not even the issue. But when there is, like, measles, a massive outbreak of measles, how many people in America were dying even as, you know, things were progressing in the 20th century? It was on the decline long before the vaccine, obviously.
Long before.
But then, you know, then you bring up vitamin A and they're like, oh, you're one of those conspiracy theorists. Vitamin A treats measles. Like, we're not even talking about treatment. We're just saying having adequate vitamin A in your body, you know, you're not going to have a problem, much less all the other issues. It's like sometimes you just want to pull your hair out, whatever's left, dealing with these people that are so ignorant.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, I know. And look at you, nice head of hair up here, Neil has. And anyway, borrow some of Lisa's.
Yeah, beautiful hair.
Well, I think in the end, thank you very much. I think in the end, for me, it's really about equipping people with the knowledge, because knowledge, you know, they say knowledge is power, But it really is. And especially for a mom who is raising young kids, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of opinions. There's a lot of fear mongering. And, you know, when a woman gets empowered about what she knows and what she can do for her children, there's no stopping her. And that is when we go in and we start changing the generations, because when kids are raised with in a different way of thinking of it, and I see it with my own children, I don't even know if they know where the local CVS is, much less what they would buy if they went there.
Hey,
you know, they
that's
went
something
off
to be
college.
proud of.
Yeah, they went off to college with homeopathic kits, and they go right to their kits. The first year they called me a lot, the second year not so much, and so on and so forth. And now I just get occasional calls, but they just handle stuff.
That's awesome.
I want to hear more from families whose kids look by and see these things on every corner. Like, what are those things, Mommy? Oh, those are drugstores. We don't use those. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll have to ask them if they know where the local CVS is. I doubt they do, but maybe.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. So, all right, so we're here in St. George, Utah. Lisa, wish you were with us. We have a few more days here. In fact, this is the first of 4 days, and there's a lot of cool people. A lot of our friends are going to be here. Sherry Tenpenny's coming on Thursday.
I'm looking forward to that. That's awesome.
Dr. Sherry's awesome. Liana Warner Gray, our good friend, is here already. I haven't seen her yet. And you know, the opportunities, as I say, to come out and connect this way. Spirit, God, love, whatever it is, tends to reward us when we get out of our comfort zone to connect with people this way.
It is
and
awesome.
So and Neil's going to be speaking tomorrow morning 10:45 local time, St. George. I'll be speaking, I think it's around that same time on Saturday morning. And in the meantime, we've got live broadcasts every day from here. And Lisa, to remind everybody, the course, now I have the discount code RSB20. And
RSB20.
for those that want to consult with you, you do a lot of coaching, health coaching, homeopathic things. Is it just mention the RSB show? You usually will give them $100 off of that, right?
Absolutely. Yep. I always ask, how'd you hear about me? And I make a note. So you'll get $100 off any of my other programs. And then the RSB20 is for the course.
Yeah. So vibrantlife247.com. That darn RSB. Stop sending all these people my way.
It's great.
We love it.
Really, some of my most favorite clients.
Yay.
Well, Lisa, it's such a pleasure to meet you and see you. Heard so much good, and we just can't promote homeopathy enough.
Yes.
The more we can share, the more people who know, the more people who understand. We got to get these people on the right thinking track.
You know what? I think the more we're going to grow here, we're probably going to host our own homeopathic celebration.
We should do
together.
that.
Yeah.
We've got enough support. We could do that.
Yeah.
I'm in. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Dude, all right. Everybody, thank you. Thanks to Lisa for being with us every month. And whenever she can come by, sometimes on the AMAs, we just enjoy having you so much. We have so much fun on those Ask Me Anythings.
Are you feeling better, Robert? Are you feeling better? You seem like you're feeling better.
Well, because I'm hanging out with you guys, but I still feel my head's a little heavy. So I might go over to Neil. He's got some remedies for me. Just the lack of sleep, the constant movement and, you know, being in these environments. You know, even I have my limits, and I realized going into this sequence from Reno to DC to here that by the time I got here, I'm like, I hope I'm still okay to do the show. But thank God Neil's here and you're on, and we've got some more folks coming on the second hour as well.
Well, I don't know what Neil's favorite travel remedy for. You sound jet laggy to me, but I love.
I feel it.
Do you know what? I actually. Oh, you know what? I left at home. Because I've got my alternate first aid kit here, but in my first aid kit for travel, I have a jet lag remedy.
Oh,
specifically.
Yeah. Well,
what was the remedy you mentioned? Coculus. Okay.
Yeah. Coculus indica.
Coculus.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. So maybe
don't say coculus. That's rude.
Well, I was thinking about it as I was kind of watching you like figure out like what remedy am I going to take? What do I need to take? And I started listening to your, what you were saying. And I'm like, it sounds like he needs coculus.
I'm in. I'll do that. But I'll take coculus. Thank you very much.
But I do have it.
You have some?
I do.
Okay, so we're good. We're in.
There you go.
We got it going on. All right. This is awesome.
Neil, it was a pleasure to meet you.
Such a pleasure. Thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, I've got questions of the day coming up. I'll answer them in hour 2. We've also got some bulletproof backpacks for the kids. I'm not kidding. If you're in a place where there's a risk of that, I've got some here. I'm going to show you in hour 2. This is kind of cool. New guest Tina from the satellite phone company. She has them here, so I'm going to show them off. I might get one. So thanks for being here, Lisa. Appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
God bless y'all.